First, let us introduce you to some picture people whose names you don't often hear and whose faces you seldom see. The newsreel producers. All day long, part of the night too, these men work in their quest for news. From the newspaper headlines, but more often by the telephone from news agencies and special correspondents all over the world. And by that marvelous modern invention, the tape machine. These eyes are ever on the watch for the news that comes tapping through. What's this? Disaster in Kent? An aeroplane has crashed into the hillside. That has pictorial news value, and the cameraman must be on the job. Strip is torn off and taken to the editor's office. He immediately phones through to the cameraman and explains briefly the nature and the whereabouts of the event. The cameraman has all the information, and within a few seconds he's taking his magazines of film to a waiting car. They're off, and you notice that the car is a private one, unrestricted by speed regulations applied to commercial vehicles. At the scene of the crash, the camera is set up, the sound apparatus adjusted, and they're filming a story that will be shown on the screens of every cinema within a few hours. They've got enough now, and the sound man signals that he's satisfied. The camera is dismantled, and they're soon speeding on their way back to the laboratories where the film is to be developed. Here's the film coming off one of the developing machines. It's screened for the editor and his associates to decide which is the best part for your interest. In the cutting room, the film is again run through on this special apparatus. The best parts being cut out and joined with the help of the high-speed machine you see here. The commentator adds the commentary, and in the sound recorder's booth, the editor signifies his approval. Developed, it is then synchronized with music and natural sound. And all that work is for one story of some 30 a week, which these men produce to give you the news as it is. I wonder where he gets his practice. Okay, Louis, we think you're good, too. Still later, we wander down onto the embankment and find two American visitors watching the shipping on Old Father Thames. Trees and Things with Jane Baxter, charming star of stage and screen, who is with her little dachshund. I can never remember whether dachshund means otter hunt or badger hunt or both, or either. Still, as long as he's the official Baxter hunt, he should worry. Another to cast off the cares of the metropolis for the open country is Elizabeth Allan, who is renting Sir Cedric Hardwicke's lovely country house and stables in Hertfordshire, while he's away on the job in Hollywood. After such a long string of successes in costume parts, you probably think of Elizabeth as an old-world miss with the ringlets and furbelows. But we're inclined to think she's equally sweet in anything, especially bowler and breeches. So yoicks, tally-ho, tantivy, and toodaloo, Miss Allan. So, home again, to a cosy fire, and tea and toast, and the fat stock price. She's a very keen horsewoman, and says there's nothing she likes more than a good gallop over the countryside with the cool wind in her face to blow the studio cobwebs away. So cobwebs are the last thing we'd expect to find round our enchanting star. And who more at home in these surroundings than Elizabeth Allan? So to beautiful Pinewood, where we find Vivian Duncan, one of the famous Duncan sisters, with her little daughter Evelyn, who was Shirley Temple's stand-in until Shirley started growing up too quickly. You'll probably notice the grounds are lovely, too. Well, they're all going to take a row on the lake, but Evelyn seems to have forgotten her kitten. Well, come on then, and they're all aboard on a voyage of discovery. Them to follow this charming couple who are taking a stroll by the Pinewood Club. They are Margaret Viner and Patrick Barr. Margaret is from down under, and Pat is well known as the villain of the piece. But there's no peace for the wicked. And here's Lesley Here's Lesley Cadew, popular publicity chief of the Pinewood Studios, who wants to get the lowdown on Margaret's past life for a fan magazine. Margaret, you know, was once a mannequin and a journalist, and that certainly is good training for films. So we'll leave these two to watch a slight argument between our old friend Wally Patch and comedian author H.F. Maltby. Wally pinches the big one. Cheerio, all the best. Gotcha, you miserable world. Well, I suppose I'll have to make the best of a bad bargain. There was only one person who seemed thoroughly disgusted with such an exhibition, and that was Roland Young, who was taking a rest between shots of Jessie Matthews' latest picture. He took his new book into the club's library. Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Young. That's the bar entrance, you know. Oh, now, that seems a merry little party to me. Vivian Duncan's back from her voyage. On her right is glamorous June Knight. And with Maurice Chevalier, they're drinking to Mr. Grimmel, the popular new manager of the club, which, by the way, is a rendezvous where fans may meet their favorite stars. And so we leave Pinewood. And glamorous June Knight bids you all cheerio until we bring you more Picture People.